This story is brought to you by English Tales for Learners, where stories inspire growth, language meets emotion, and every tale carries a light that awakens the human spirit. Here, we don't just tell stories. We remind you of your power to rise, to heal, and to begin again. In the vast mosaic of human existence, where moments of triumph and tribulation weave together to form the stories we carry. There are singular choices that ripple through time, reshaping destinies. These are not mere decisions but sacred turning points. Crossroads where the heart, bruised yet hopeful, dares to seek a new path. Mia Khalifa's journey is one such story, a luminous testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It is not a tale of untarnished glory or unrelenting defeat, but a deeply human saga of rediscovery, courage, and transformation. A beacon for anyone who has ever stumbled in the dark, searching for a flicker of light to guide them home. Imagine a young woman, barely 21, stepping into the unfamiliar embrace of a new country. Born in Lebanon, Mia Khalifa arrived in America carrying the weight of cultural displacement, her heart a canvas of dreams and uncertainties. She was navigating the tender terrain of early adulthood, yearning for identity, acceptance, and a place to belong in a world that often felt indifferent. In that vulnerable season, she was drawn into a choice that would alter the course of her life. A brief 3-month foray into the adult entertainment industry. It was a decision made in the haze of youth, influenced by the seductive promise of quick fame, and the manipulative allure of an industry that thrives on the innocence of the impressionable. Those fleeting months became a permanent echo, amplified by a digital world that immortalizes mistakes. The videos, the notoriety, the relentless objectification, they swirled into a storm that stripped away her privacy, her peace, and at times her sense of self. To the world, she became a headline, a caricature shaped by judgment and sensationalism. But beneath that public facade was a young woman, sensitive, confused, and deeply human, grappling with the consequences of a choice she barely understood at the time. The weight of that past was heavy. Mia faced a barrage of criticism, from cruel online trolls to cultural backlash that followed her across borders. In her native Lebanon, her choices were met with disapproval, adding layers of isolation to an already fractured sense of belonging. The fame she stumbled into was a gilded cage, offering fleeting adoration but exacting a steep price. Her mental health, her relationships, her trust in the world. Anxiety and depression became silent companions, whispering doubts in the quiet moments. Yet, within this crucible of pain, a spark of transformation was kindling. Mia's story is not one of surrender to despair, but of awakening to purpose. She learned that the loudest noise, the clamor of fame, the sting of judgment, eventually fades into silence. And in that silence, she found her greatest teacher, experience. With a courage that burns brighter than any spotlight, Mia chose not to hide. She refused to let her past define her or silence her. Instead, she stepped forward, her voice trembling at first, but growing steadier with each truth she shared. She began to speak, not to defend or erase her past, but to illuminate the shadows that so many others face in silence. Through interviews, podcasts, and raw, heartfelt posts, she exposed the underbelly of the industry that had once ensnared her. She spoke of how it preys on the young, dangling promises of empowerment while delivering exploitation. She shared the emotional toll, the sleepless nights, the panic attacks, the struggle to reclaim her identity from a world that refused to see beyond her past. I was lost, she might confess in those vulnerable moments, but in losing myself, I found the strength to rebuild. Her words became a lifeline, not just for herself, but for countless others. Mia transformed her pain into a clarion call for awareness, shining a light on the ways industries exploit vulnerability, how fame can fracture peace, and how societal pressures can lead us astray from our own truth. She didn't stop at storytelling. She turned her awakening into action. With a heart forged in resilience, she became a fierce advocate for women's rights, championing causes that protect against online harassment and promote digital safety in an era where one misstep can haunt a lifetime. She partnered with organizations fighting human trafficking and exploitation, lending her voice to those who had been silenced. She delved into mental health advocacy, openly sharing her journey through therapy, her battles with self-doubt, and her path to healing, urging others to seek help without shame. Self-respect became her anthem, a guiding light for young people navigating a world that often demands conformity over authenticity. Picture the weight she carried through it all. The relentless trolls, the death threats, the cultural stigma that followed her like a shadow. In Lebanon, her name was met with scorn. Online, it was weaponized by strangers. Yet, with each step, she transformed that burden into fuel for her fire. Her scars, once raw and aching, became emblems of wisdom, living proof that mistakes are not shackles but stepping stones. She proved that redemption is not a distant fantasy, but a daily act of courage, a choice to rise above regret and reclaim your narrative. Today, Mia Khalifa is no longer the young woman defined by a fleeting chapter of her life. She is a force, a trailblazer who has ventured into new arenas, from sports commentary to fashion and jewelry design, proving that reinvention is possible when you dare to dream beyond the labels others impose. Her story is a mirror for us all, reflecting the universal truth that we each carry chapters we wish we could rewrite. Who among us hasn't stumbled chasing fleeting illusions, whether it's the approval of others, the lure of success, or the need to belong? Mia's journey reminds us that our past is not a prison, but a professor, teaching us lessons that sculpt our souls. The pain we've felt is the chisel carving our strength. The regrets that linger are invitations to rise with renewed purpose. Her one positive step, choosing to speak, to advocate, to heal, set in motion a journey that has touched millions. It ripples outward, inspiring others to confront their own shadows, to forgive themselves, and to step boldly into the light of who they can become. So, let Mia's story ignite a fire within you. You too have the power to transform your pain into purpose. Your mistakes, your heartaches, your moments of doubt, they are not your end but your beginning. Take that one step, no matter how small. Speak your truth, seek help, extend a hand to another, or simply choose to believe in your own worth. Each act of courage is a spark, each choice to move forward, a victory. Mia Khalifa stands as a living testament that redemption is real, that healing is possible, and that the greatest stories are not those of unbroken perfection, but of beautifully mended spirits, shining brighter for having been tested. Rise, dear soul, with the grace of someone who knows that true freedom comes from within. Let your scars tell stories of wisdom, your steps pave paths of hope. You are not defined by where you've been, but by where you choose to go next. And like Mia, you can choose to move forward, with courage, with compassion, with an unyielding belief that one positive step can change not just your life, but the world. For in the end, the most powerful journeys are those that turn pain into purpose, darkness into light, and a single spark into a flame that illuminates the way for others. Keep moving, keep growing, and let your story become a beacon of hope for all who are lost, reminding them that the path to healing begins with one brave, beautiful step. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share it forward, subscribe to English Tales for Learners, and let your journey of growth begin today. Because every story you hear is a mirror of what you can become. Rise, speak, and keep shining.